Good morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, everybody watching online on YouTube and Twitch. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield on this third day of September. And boy, do we have a show for you. My name is Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Sparky, good morning.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for.
Oh, we've got a jam-packed show. We'll talk about this this Kawhi. I can never say this dude's name right. Kawhi Leonard's recent news that broke this morning. We'll get into that to kick off the show. We'll get into AP's new college rankings, and if we agree or not, we'll have our boy Rob and Kenny from BC Football joining us at 7:30 for our weekly segment. We'll recap the week one game, the last Saturday's game, and then we'll preview the season opener at home, the home season opener at home, whatever. We'll do that at 7:30. We'll get into some NFL, some baseball, some WrestlePalooza type baseball last night. We'll get into that. We'll get into some Wild Thing Wednesday stories, all sorts of stuff. If you'd like to win some Bakersfield BrunchFest tickets, we've got those tickets to give away. Just call or text in anytime during the show, starting now at 661-842-2000. And am I the only one last night? I totally forgot it was Tuesday, and I was like, where's Monday Night Raw? Like, what? Oh.
See, I'm telling you, I told you yesterday during the show. It threw off my internal clock too. I knew it. I knew it was going to happen. Luckily, I knew it was Tuesday because I was in here running the show at 5 o'clock. So I said, oh, NXT is on. I threw on NXT and got to see DIY come back for the first time in 10 years. I thought that was interesting.
And if we get some time at the end, I have some questions for you.
Okay.
I also have some news for the Sunday ticket discount. I've been telling you guys about it. We'll let you know the truth about that, as well as Stephanie McMahon's whole VPN. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, this VPN situation, because if you know, or if you've been following the WWE and their podcast channels, a lot of them are being sponsored by a VPN.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know what a VPN is, or if you don't know what a VPN is, you're sitting here saying, what in the hell are these two doofuses talking about? A VPN is essentially how do I put this? A protected internet service for you.
Yeah, network.
A network. It is something that you can use to kind of bypass Netflix's borders in terms of literal borders. Like if there's a show that only plays in Canada, you can use a VPN to watch that show in America. And because the WWE is sponsored by all of these, or by this one company, I should say, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot, because with the use of that VPN, people in America can bypass the entire ESPN PLE thing that they have going that starts up in 2 weeks, which means if you have a VPN, you really don't need to buy ESPN to watch these PLEs. You can more than likely find a suitable replacement overseas that is much cheaper, because a lot of people use these VPNs to find PLEs and pay-per-views all the time, UFC namely, because although UFC pay-per-views may be about 60, 70, 80 bucks here in America, out in Mexico or in Spain or in other countries, it's as low as $20 American. So realistically, you can use these to really thwart the system and stop what they're trying to do with this whole merger. So there's a lot of questions around that. I've seen that around the internet lately, especially since they're really pushing this.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, is because Stephanie came out during her podcast saying that, U.S. users, you can just use the VPN instead of buying ESPN.
Undertaker said the exact same thing.
And people are ESPN was a little ticked off about it, but since all of those are in one app overseas, then you can just use a VPN and watch them all on Netflix.
For those of you who don't know this, the WWE network still exists, just in different countries. So ergo, you can use this VPN to buy said WWE network for maybe $10 a month instead of the $30 you would have to pay at ESPN. And I don't think that exactly is something that the WWE is worried about, stepping on toes of people, because, and hear me out on this, they want you there. They hear the fans. Trust me, I have heard nothing but positive things when it comes to the WWE, or at least the people inside, especially when it comes to fans' gripes about ticket prices. The ticket prices aren't exactly set up because that's what Paul Levesque wants it to be or Stephanie wants it to be. They don't want you dropping $70,000 to be ringside at WrestleMania in Vegas. That's not at all what they want. They would love to bring that number back down, which is why they're telling you, hey, American people, if you are worried about not having the money to watch WrestlePalooza, use a VPN. You could still watch it. All they care about is viewership. They don't care about making the money right now. The only reason that the WWE and a lot of these people are stacking up their prices when it comes to these tickets and the merch and stuff like that is because once they merged with TKO, they also inherited all of TKO's debt, which is a substantial amount. I don't have the actual figure in front of me, but with the rate they're going along with the UFC, they should be past that debt hopefully within a year or two. And if that is to be correct, I would assume that means a lot of the prices that you're going to have to be paying are going to be coming back down as well, which is a good thing for wrestling fans. Everybody gets what they want. Everybody goes back to a suitable number, hopefully. Maybe back down to 20, 15 bucks a month at least or something of that nature. I'm still holding out for some sort of ESPN package with this new app where you if you just want WWE, maybe you only pay 15 bucks a month instead of the full 30. You know what I mean? So we will see what we will see. I know ESPN, rightfully so, not very happy with the WWE telling American consumers to really bypass their entire situation and not pay them.
No, but thank you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Thank you.
I'm going to try it out.
Because also breaking news this morning for those of you who use websites and stuff like that. Stream East just got shut down this morning in a sting, says The Athletic. So if you use Stream East to watch a lot of your football over the weekend or watch a lot of these pay-per-views, you are no longer going to be able to do that. It does not exist anymore. And actually, I think Buff Streams got taken down as well because I was looking for that the other day and it was gone.
So they're busting out before football starts.
Exactly. Which happens almost every year.
Yeah.
So,
I remember back in the day, back in my days,
right?
My dad and we had a Zapped box that we watched all the Tyson fights, all the WrestleManias. And back in the day, those were 50, 60 buck nights. And that was 60 bucks is now like 600. But we used to have to get the box zapped here and there because they would do these random, checkups. But keeping it in the news, the breaking story that broke this morning, Leonard.
Oh, Lord. So, Clipper fans, you might be in trouble. Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers owner are now under some serious heat as Steve Ballmer apparently might have been paying $28 million to Kawhi Leonard's contract outside of the NBA. Now, let me explain this. To circumvent the salary cap, from what we understand, that says Pablo Torre, and he, during his Pablo Torre Finds Out segment, I believe on The Athletic, or I can't remember exactly where you can find this, but if you look it up, I'm sure it's the first one that's going to pop up today. He goes into extensive detail about this entire lawsuit that is now being weighed against Clippers star Kawhi Leonard and owner Steve Ballmer about allegedly Ballmer was paying $28 million of Kawhi Leonard's contract through a legal battle between a company that Ballmer owned called Aspiration. It was a tree planting service. And Kawhi Leonard's KL2 Aspire LLC. There was a whole legal agreement that gave $28 million from Aspiration, a failing, now bankrupt company, to Kawhi Leonard's entire business acumen, essentially. Which, if you kind of see where this is going, that means that Steve Ballmer most likely made a deal with Kawhi when they signed his contract that said, we're going to give you this much in your NBA contract, but just to make sure we can go get some help for you, we're going to cut about 30 million of that out. You're going to get that in a different way via this company over here.
As a sponsor.
As a sponsor, exactly.
Or advertiser, yeah.
That never happened. He was never signed on to be a sponsor. He was never signed on to do any work with the company at all. And yet they still paid him $28 million, which is way illegal in the NBA. You cannot do that. Although, while reading this story, I kind of wonder, Sparky, and I'm going to throw this to you. Do you think this is the only one?
No.
Do you genuinely believe a lot of these business owners just kind of leave that on the wayside and say, you know what? We're going to just pay you all your money up front. We don't got to worry about doing nothing
as a
like this.
no-show endorsement.
Exactly. And Kawhi Leonard talk about no-show. Let's talk about that. I mean, you can't even show up to the court, and yet you can get paid $28 million to not show up to be a spokesperson for a failing company. God, dude, ever since this guy left San Antonio, since he left the Greg Popovich situation, nothing has really been a positive outside. Or I shouldn't say that. Him in Toronto, I guess, was a positive because he won them a championship. But even then, going into that season, he was acting out because he didn't want to play there.
You don't want to be there at all.
He didn't want to be in Toronto. He told them straight up before the season started, I'm not re-signing no matter what we do. And he won a championship there and still left for LA and hasn't really been Kawhi Leonard since.
Yeah. And our buddy Chris Flail is the one that sent it to me this morning. And he said, dude, I understand the story, but this journalist just snitching out on people. Do you think this is where it ends? Or do you think there's going to be some other players popping up like, hey.
Now that this popped up, and I mean, sports and controversy go hand in hand. Let's be honest. But this is definitely not something that's just going to shy away, or we're going to just say, Kawhi is the only one.
But overall, what do you think? I mean, what do you think the NBA is going to have to do?
They're going to have to punish him. If this ends up being true and they end up finding out that all of this was a no-show situation, especially for a tree planting service.
For $28 million.
Tree planting service.
You couldn't find something better?
Like, I mean, just Ballmer. What? No, what it was that he knew the company was going under already, more than likely, and just said, you know what? Check. The last of our money, I'm just going to give it to you just to make sure you come play for the Clippers. But at the same time, you're paying a man $28 million to not play for you.
Yeah.
He hasn't been playing. Like, what is you now are in legal trouble, the NBA trouble, which, let's be honest, the Clippers have been in NBA trouble forever, even before Steve Ballmer became the owner. And now Steve Ballmer, congratulations, you are now just as bad as the guy before you. Well, maybe not just as bad, you're right. But you're in legal problems just as bad as the guy before you.
It's definitely
it's not a good look.
Close.
It's not a good look. It's just not. And at this point, like, there's no way you went about this knowing that we weren't going to get caught.
Yeah, and he can't play. Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that ignorance is going to be played here. The NBA is going to come down. You're more than likely going to have a serious penalty for this. I don't know if that means a massive suspension for Kawhi or what that means for the Clippers. Most likely a giant
pull some draft picks, some big suspensions.
Yeah. So, some major money getting allocated back to the NBA. But this is the type of stuff that the NBA does not play around with.
And this newer commish is going to have to put his foot down.
Yep.
And we'll see what this means.
And Silver has never really shied away from doing that. Exactly. When it comes down to when he needs to do something, he's one of the only commissioners that I know of that'll actually do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
definitely not the Stern days that we're watching.
No, absolutely not. And at this point, like, you really want to put him up against guys like Manfred and all that. Like, we can get into the Shohei Ohtani stuff if you want to, because
let's take a break and do that.
Out of that.
We'll do that. We'll take a break and get some updates. Ohtani has some good and some bad. We'll get into that. And if you'd like to win a pair of tickets to Bakersfield Brunch Fest, text in 661-842-2000. It's coming up October 11th at the Kern County Fairgrounds, and we've got your tickets right here on the Early Bird Special.
Welcome back. And happy hump day. I don't know if we said that already. It is Wednesday for those of you who had a short week as we did.
This log is screwing me up.
Uh-oh. That's never fun. And also a quick birthday shout out to my brother-in-law, Greg. It is his birthday today. Happy birthday, big dog. Hope you have a great day. You know, reading into this Kawhi Leonard thing, there are so many things that are bad about this. Because this is stuff that is found by Torre and Pulled, but there was a internal part of the agreement that said Kawhi can essentially say no to whatever they asked him to do as a spokesperson, essentially meaning he got paid to do nothing if he wanted to. And there's also voiced voiced interviews from aspiration employees that were voice modified because they didn't want to give their person. I get that. Talking out against your boss makes sense. But that essentially confirmed that they were told at aspiration that this was done to circumvent the salary cap. This is damning, dude. This is big.
And it's just getting started.
And for Ballmer to be one of the newer guys, I mean, all of this money was sent to a guy named Uncle Dennis, which is a representative of Kawhi's, who was also investigated by the NBA in 2019 when all of this started. When he got signed, Kawhi got signed to the Clippers, because he asked for a lot of really weird benefits. The NBA went and found out that there was no benefits given. They're fine. There's nothing there. Clearly, they were wrong.
Yeah.
Again, like this is the other thing that makes me wonder too, because if you investigated this guy properly back in 2019,
could have got it then, or could have. Or maybe that's when they started changing it up.
Maybe after the investigation is when the deal was done. I'm not 100% sure when the deal between Aspiration and Kawhi Leonard was done. But regardless, if you investigated this guy, including Dennis Robinson, Robertson, I apologize, who you already have pre-existing issues with, thinking that he was doing something illegal, or at least illegal to the NBA, why are you taking your eyes off of him? Ever. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, this makes me wonder if the NBA's investigation back in 2019 was really one that was taken seriously, to be honest with you.
Or maybe that's when the bomber was like, yo, right, we got to find a different way to get you your money.
Yeah, in order to pay some other guys to come and play for us, I guess.
Let me see what other business I'm working with. Oh, okay, here's the tree company that's falling out.
And for those of you who are sitting in your cars right now or at home saying, why is this a big deal? Why does this matter? He's still getting paid by his owner. Opening this kind of a door in sports in general is damning, because now you're just going to be taking all those companies that those owners own and using that money instead of the money they should be allocating. And if you really want to get down to it, if you want to circumvent the salary cap in general, you want to see the Dodgers and the Yankees in basketball? You don't think the Lakers or all those guys, the Celtics, I don't think any of these guys would do the same thing?
Sounds like an episode of Ozark.
Exactly. You have to keep it fair. And obviously, this is something that is not fair in the slightest to anybody. And again, a tree trimming service or a tree planting service? Really? What was the claw going to do for you? Was he going to plant the tree in a commercial?
That's a hell of a business, paying people $28 million.
That's what I'm thinking. A now bankrupt tree planting service.
That was probably never even worth that.
Nope. But because Ballmer had the money within it, he was able to ship it out. That's probably why they're bankrupt now, to be completely honest with you. And all those people that worked for that company most likely lost their job because of this, because they went bankrupt, because he had to pay Kawhi Leonard with the $28 million that he promised him.
And now employees could probably go after him.
Yep.
That's why you open up a boat casino.
God.
But that opens up the door with this Ohtani. I know there's been talk about, we've talked about, the real estate stuff in, what was it, in Japan, that his name, but he wasn't actually the one that was doing it, but he was somehow mixed in, and we got into the conversation of athletes choosing the groups that they are around. And that goes back into, the original story with, Ohtani's guy, making bets and using his money to make bets. And now there could be a spin to that story.
Well, the bookie that apparently was working with Ipe Mesuhara the former interpreter of Shohei Ohtani that went down as the reason for all of this scandal,
which
that
is
he was the
serving
one
time
that did
right
that.
now,
He's
right?
serving time. The bookie came out and said the payment came from Shohei.
Personally.
His personal account. Now, granted, we all know that supposedly part of this story is that Ipe had control of, or at least semi-control of Shohei's funds, which is
it's like my wife.
Why he sent it out that way, potentially. But there is a growing theme around the internet and around a lot of fandom that believe that Shohei might not be as innocent as he claims to be. There's a lot of big question marks when it comes to not only this Mipe Izuhara story, which we still, I think a lot of people want to shut the books on, but I don't think we necessarily can, especially now that more information continues to come out 4 or 5 days ago from the bookie in a video interview where he explained everything from his side of it all. I mean, now, like you mentioned, the real estate company where Shohei was supposedly a partner or a spokesperson for this new building they were making. That was $1 billion building, and they got what they believe screwed out of it by him and his manager. Look, man, we said this when that came out. This could be a story or two different stories to me. Either Shohei really is as innocent as he seems to be, and he's really a good guy, because from everything we've seen in public, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
He seems like a very personable person, very well-mannered. I mean, he's even joking with hecklers in San Diego. Like, the guy's not exactly somebody that has, or at least seems to have, a bad bone or an angry bone in his body.
Yeah, role model of one type.
Absolutely. But is it a mask? There's a lot of people that are starting to believe that this is a mask. This is all a game. This is all something that he's just puppeteering. And because he's the MLB's golden boy, I mean, we talked about Rob Manfred just a little bit ago, a guy who claims he likes to put teeth into baseball. But at the same time, when it really comes down to your big names, you usually shy away from it, Rob. Let's be honest. But when it comes down to steroids and all this other stuff, when you can actually pin it to them, now we're putting teeth in it. Now all these pitchers can't pitch in the postseason, which I'm 110% for, even though one of my best pitchers on the Phillies can't pitch in the postseason this year because of it. I'm 100% for it. But if you're going to bring teeth down, you need to bring teeth down on everybody. And we've got to figure out, much like this Kawhi Leonard situation, if there's something illegal going on behind the scenes, you got to snuff it out, regardless of who it is. And again, 4 days ago, we got a live interview with the bookie. And I meant to bring this up yesterday, but we ran out of time because there's so much football to talk about. And we didn't even get to our boy Nico Iamaleava, who looked awful in his debut. We'll get to that in a little bit, because the swapping of quarterbacks between UCLA and Tennessee looked like a bad idea for Tennessee.
And before we get into
UCLA, I apologize.
BC, we've got the guys coming on here in a minute or two. But the new AP came out with their rankings.
Yep.
And obviously we knew Ohio State would probably go up to number one.
As they should,
exactly. But now it gets into
Texas dropped to 7, right?
Penn State, LSU, Georgia, Miami, all moving up in the top 5. But yeah, like you said, Texas going down. Alabama tumbled from 8
all the way to
21.
The 20s. And I see we have a bite here. Let's play it real quick before we have to go to our guys in BC. But Evan Cohen had something to say about people like me who believe that Kalen DeBoer might be on his way out of Alabama.
Do people realize that Alabama, after Nick Saban out of nowhere retired, got a guy that just went to a national championship game with Washington? Can we give him a minute to breathe? Who did you want exactly if you're Alabama? And I understand that the thought of Nick Saban coming back is going to be overwhelming forever, as it should be. Kalen DeBoer had a bad loss to FSU this weekend. Unless he didn't, unless FSU is actually good again. But who did you want that was a better candidate than the guy who has literally never been bad as a head coach, coming off of going to a national championship game, a week prior? Who did you want? Did you expect a guy to be as good as Nick Saban? Utterly impossible.
I agree with him on that. You can't beat Nick Saban. We said that yesterday. It's impossible to really come in and fill in for the legend and be better than the legend ever was. But it's because, at least in my opinion, and I don't mean to question Evan because we love Evan Cohen on this show, but him going to the championship with Washington is exactly why Alabama's expectations for him are so high and why he's going to lose his job. You took a team in Washington, that was led by Michael Penix, thrice, a lot of the current Falcons, to be honest with you, because for some reason Atlanta drafted all those guys, and took them to a championship. They didn't win, but you still look good with a team in Washington. That's great. But that was 1 year. And then he got hired at Alabama, arguably the biggest dynasty in college football. I know, but it's true.
My stomach hurts.
It is one of those situations where you come in with that kind of expectation where they expect you to kind of pick up where you left off. You have a better team in Alabama than you did in Washington. Why are you worse? Someone tell me that. If you had a better team with Alabama and you went than you did in Washington, because all your Washington guys left. So don't act like he was coming back to Washington and doing the exact same thing again. Kalen DeBoer has a lot on his shoulders, I realize, and I don't mean to come for a guy's job. That's the last thing I want to do.
It's early. It is
early.
But like we said yesterday, he's got plenty of time. I just think if he doesn't turn around, what was the record we saw yesterday?
7-5.
7-5. If he finishes that season 7-5, he's looking for a job.
He's out. That's just how Alabama rolls now. Just like LSU with Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly's a great coach. But if he can't get LSU over the top, he's not going to be there very much longer. It's just part of the game. And to be honest with you, as we said yesterday, you kind of shot yourself in the foot while trying to come in and take over for the legend that was Nick Saban.
It's like we've been saying, it's tough, not only just taking a big school job like that, but following somebody as legendary as Nick Saban. But we got our boys, Rob and Kenny, on the hold. So we'll take our break. We'll get into some BC football, and we'll see what they think about the first week of college football right here on the Early Bird Special.
Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. And as we do every Wednesday during the football season, you're sitting down with the voices of Bakersfield College football. That is Kenny, Calvin, and Rob Chavez. Gentlemen, how are you? Fantastic season opener for the Renegades. How are we feeling going into week 2 in this home opener against oh Lord, I dropped the name.
Alan Hancock.
Thank you, Alan Hancock. I don't know why I dropped my name on that one, but how are we feeling?
Well, definitely grateful for you guys as always. Last week was beautiful. City's excited to see us being able to join you guys, but the excitement of the first game for us was beautiful because everything that we went through last year, it was a result of how we can finally finish a game. That's what I got. That's what I loved most out of this past week.
So you bring that up because I know that's been a struggle for BC the last couple of years, especially with these close games. What this year do you see that we didn't see last year?
I mean, I would say consistency in the kicking game, and minimizing big plays and creating turnovers. We had a point going into last week was winning the turnover battle. Me, Steve, and Rob talked about that during pregame. And I said, if we can win the turnover battle, no matter what our offense does or doesn't do, we'll be okay. And that's kind of what happened from a standpoint of the defense.
I mean, different defense, offense, special teams. I mean, they all showed up. There was a point in the game where we were on the fence for a second. But, I mean, going to, what would Rob say, Richard Gooden? Don't call him Doc.
Don't call him Doc. Don't call him Doc.
Game, Bubba all over on the ground. Plus, we had a blocked field goal. I mean, there was a point in the second half. I believe it was late in the third quarter where we were like, okay, it's going to get close. But like you said, they turned out and, ended up taking the win 28-14. I was happy, went on the road. But coming up this weekend, we got our home opener. And like you said, I mean, what I saw, I got a message from my boy Chad Hathaway over with 1913. They've got a big thing going on with the Cool Zone tailgate. And you can go down there from 2 to 4, parking lot 7 at Memorial Stadium, and they'll take care of you. But what are we looking into, just preview of this game coming up?
Really, when it comes to Alan Hancock, they are I think they like to show that they're balanced. But what Kenny and I were talking about yesterday was that they're going to basically their whole offense is going to be predicated on the play of their quarterback. Just like last week, you had a real talented kid in Nate Bento. Now you got a kid in Drake Missmore, who is a local kid who sat on the bench last year. They had a kid in AJ Bele who was their quarterback. He was decent, and Drake, I think, just had a chance to sit, and he's local. So he's got a lot of people out in the crowd, and I think that probably had something to do with it. Now you're going to come out to BC. It's going to be, Greg even put it yesterday, 94, not terrible for Bakersfield, but on the ground, on the floor, it's about 10 to 15 degrees hotter. So they're going to have to deal with the heat. But they showed, some, at least in terms of plays, they were about 55-45 on the pass. The thing is that the pass broke for some big plays, especially their guy Ryder Scheid, who's essentially their backup running back, but he's like their pass catching running back. He broke off for a 46-yard run, had over 100 yards receiving. So he's kind of like their change of pace back. But I mean, they got 4 guys that carried the ball, 4 receivers. So they're kind of like a balanced offense, just like BC. And how can we be surprised? Their last head coach and their last offensive play caller was a guy named Seth Dameron, and he's calling the plays here in Bakersfield.
So obviously there's a lot of history between these two teams. Let's talk about that a little bit. And the last couple of years, they have been very, very close games. How is the feeling coming into this one? Do you feel like this is a must win for the Renegades, obviously with the season just starting, and we want to get out on the right foot, obviously at home?
Well, one of the things I love talking about in the history of the Alan Hancock and Bakersfield College battles is the fact that I had a 50-48 win in my 1995 campaign where I caught a fake punt for 60 yards to win the game 50-48. So like this this tells you how heated these rivalries can go. Put up some points sometimes it's some great defense. But like Renegade Rob said, with having Seth here, we definitely want to make sure we get these guys back. Like, this is personal at this point. 2 straight wins versus us. We definitely
last year we got a win last year.
But we got the win last year, but prior to that, we lost 2 straight.
They had lost 3 straight, and heartbreaking as well too. And last year we were kind of in the same situation where we were against Santa Ana, where early we were down and we're like, I don't know what we're gonna do. All of a sudden there was this adjustment at halftime, and this was the come out game for Malachi Statler. He was kind of honest, modest, for the beginning, and then all of a sudden they decided to put something together, and that was also that game where we had the 3 drives, 3 different running backs scoring a touchdown. So it was pretty cool.
Right, and getting back to Chris's question, do I think it's a must win? I think when you're a new coach in this position, based on how you got the job, I think every week's a must win, because as soon as you lose, somebody's going to say something, right? And that's what me and Rob said during last week's game when it got close, or when they went back up. I was like, oh, man, this might be – I don't even want to hear the roar of the community if we don't get this win. So seeing Coach find a way to get that win, at least we don't have to hear it for another week. But you're going to hear it.
After that big holding call, when we had the 44-yard pass, I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Those are always heartbreakers. But, I mean, this obviously kind of gives me a little bit of a shade of a revenge game, a little bit, obviously, with our new coach, with the local boy on the other side coming in. Who do you think is going to come in with more intensity, though? The guy playing for the coach or the guy playing for his own teammate? Because, personally, I think it's always playing for the coach.
Absolutely.
The coach needs the win, whereas the player, you can kind of get over if you don't win. So
right.
Yeah, and there's something different about when these guys in the first week they're coming out into Memorial Stadium, especially with this being the 70th anniversary game. Kenny and I walked out, about a month and a half ago. We walked out of the new Renegade Athletic Complex, and where we walked out, and where the players walk out, it's kind of crazy, because it used to be exactly where you would walk into the stadium, out of the Romain Cleroux Fieldhouse. And, there's an iconic picture of Kenny, walking out arm in arm with his guys and Coach Bowser into that Potato Bowl in '94. And it's pretty cool to be able to see it from that vantage point. So even if whether or not you're a local guy or if you're a guy from Athens, Georgia, you're going to walk out of that athletic center and you're going to see, the most iconic stadium in junior college sports in the United States. It's going to be pretty cool. I mean, that right there, in terms of the juice for pregame and all the intangibles that are off the field, I think BC's got an advantage.
So you already mentioned it a little bit, the 70th anniversary. Talk about that. And you guys talked about it a little bit on Greg's show yesterday. What can people expect if they're going out to the game this weekend?
Right. So 70th anniversary of the stadium, the great stadium built by the family of Hall of Famer David Manning, Bakersfield College Renegade and Utah State legend. So all the teams who come up, they'll be registered. They'll get a badge during the game, during halftime, and throughout the game. They'll be announced throughout the years to highlight each team. All of these former players get in free. It is also First Responders Night. So shout out to our first responders that keep us safe and comfortable in these situations.
Kept the fire away from my house last night, that Palladino fire.
So, right.
I did just get word from our boy Fessler saying that the game has been pushed back until 6 o'clock. It's not the 4 o'clock that was scheduled because of the heat index.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean,
and on top of that, though, everybody is free as well too. I know the Renegades are trying to work out some sort of a ticketing system. So advantage Renegades fans, because of the snafu, everybody's gonna be able to get into this first home game for free.
Oh, fantastic.
That's beautiful. Wow. The whole city.
Go see this. Just go check it out. I mean, BC football is always fun to go check out regardless, especially when it's at home. 70th anniversary. What's a better day to go out there? Go beat up Alan Hancock for the weekend. But real quick, I would be remiss without asking you guys this. I mean, we talked about it a little bit last weekend. First, Kenny, how do you feel about your Seminoles taking down Bama?
Oh man, it was a highlight of my weekend. I've been a Florida State fan for over 40 years, right? I remember watching my first Florida State game, and the first time I ever visited the stadium, and the first time I ever met Deion personally as a player. I always wanted to be the guy. He's the reason why I cheered for the team as a whole. To watch how we had the snafus last year, after the disappointing years of being passed over in bowl games, how great does it feel to start a season beating Alabama? Again, I was part of the coaching staff at LSU under Saban when we beat Bama. It's a great thing to beat Alabama. They're one of the schools that ripped us off from a chance to get to the promised land a couple years ago. So to start a season off like that with Castellanos, it was beautiful. But everybody talked about Castellanos. That defense was flying around sideline to sideline, and I was just so hyped because it reminded me of our 95 teams with Peter Warrick and the defense flying around. I loved it.
I agree. I thought it was a great win for you guys over the weekend, and potentially a wake-up call for everybody who's been shying away from Florida State for the last couple of years. Rob, I'm going to shift over to you when it comes to this whole Texas situation with Arch Manning. Did you actually get to watch the game at all? Did you get to see this debut?
I had a chance to watch just a little over 2 quarters of it. And, the thing is that, this is not me defending Arch Manning, but this is me more so trying to put this into perspective in the fact that, both of his uncles had some pretty easy competition their very first game that they played in college. This guy's playing the defending national champions in front of the Horseshoe in Ohio State, 100,000+ people. They're doing a Lee Corso tribute before, which was amazing. And this guy, so what do you expect out of a kid with all the pressure put on him, and you've got probably the stingiest defense in college football coming after you? I mean, again, it was for him to be able to still have the opportunity to be in the game and it be competitive, that says something at least about a Steve Sarkisian team that usually travels pretty well and they compete. You typically never see Steve Sarkisian going to big places and get blown out. He's at least going to make a game out of it, and that's what I see.
So, I mean, personally, I think it was a beneficial for Arch to get in and get out of that game. And okay, now I can learn from it.
Oh, 100%. But
absolutely.
I guess I'm in the minority here when I say this, but I blame Sarkisian for it. To be honest, I don't think he would have been great situations to win that game at all. You went on it for fourth down multiple times in the first quarter, and it got stuffed. You were right on the goal line. It didn't work. I don't know why you're trying to quarterback sneak in that situation. The best defensive lines in college ball. I don't know. I think Sarkisian's the problem. I don't think it's Arch.
Chris, I agree with you 10,000%. When I saw that goal line series, and fun fact, we have a BC Renegade in Young Crosby on that staff. He's one of our former quarterbacks. He's a coach on that Texas staff. So I'm always rooting for him. But that goal line series where you try to run inside run against the best defensive line in college football and 2 guys that are going to the NFL, and then you try to tush push with Arch, I felt like that was just horrible play calling. And everybody loves Sarkisian's play calling, but I definitely gave that loss to Sark.
Yeah, hey, again, but he gets his teams prepared. But when it comes to play calling, there's a difference.
Look, man, I am a USC fan, have been my entire life. So I have a very, very lukewarm ability to say I like Steve Sarkisian. Okay, he is but I've never really seen him as the offensive genius that everybody keeps calling him. And just watching that game, I was like, there were multiple instances where you could have taken over this game. It's not like Ohio State's offense was killing you. The freshman quarterback looked awful at points, and Arch had moments where he was fine. You just couldn't protect him.
Right.
So change it up. That's all I was thinking during that game. But before we let you guys go, anything else that we need to know for this game on Saturday?
We definitely want to highlight guys like Brody Herta. That guy was flying around last week.
Brody Schmerta.
You balling if you get a nickname before the end of the game. So Brody Schmerta. we like Bobby Schmerta. As far as how he was playing D, Richard Gooden having the impact plays that he had from a secondary perspective, and Aiden Moreno, watching those guys do things to keep the defense in front of them, it gives me a good feeling going in and facing a guy like Drake Missamore. He's a guy that's a quarterback. He passed a lot, but he didn't run the ball a lot. Last week, Bento carved us up on the ground. He was basically Josh Allen. I'm going to go ahead and say that. Bento was Josh Allen. That's why the game was close. If we can find a way to keep this Missamore guy in front of us and minimize the big plays, this game can get ugly.
Do you think they got a lot of beef up front for Hancock, but the thing is that the Renegades probably going to be getting a little bit healthier. Got a couple of guys they're going to be coming off of the injury list that'll be able to help out the defensive line. But no matter what, I know Coach Thompson's got something dialed up. And again, congratulations to Coach Thompson for, getting off and getting a win. I mean, he joins the legends like Coach Bowser and Coach Chudy and Coach Grider, who all got wins in their very first games. So, he's off to a good start. I think he's going to have something dialed up for Hancock. And Coach Dameron is definitely got to have something dialed up for those boys out there.
Hey, Coach Thompson is the winningest coach in BC history right now at 1,000%.
You bat 1,000, not much better than you. Now, do you think though that what you saw last week from a scrambling quarterback was more of just a oversight? Maybe they weren't expecting him to run like that, or is it maybe a mishap?
Oh, they expected it.
Need to fix it.
Oh, you expected it. He was just so good. Like our defensive line had opportunities to keep him contained and in the pocket, and he would outrun the angle. Like this kid was definitely one of those players as an individual, did so much. I want to say he had 300 total yards himself, about 86 on the ground and, upward of 200 plus in the air. So when you have a guy like that, he's going to make plays no matter what you game plan for.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it as always, and we will talk to you guys next week.
All right. Salute, guys.
Good luck.
I will talk to you on Saturday
Absolutely.
on our sister station, Kern Radio. If you can't make it out to the game, it's free. So there is no reason that you can't make it.
You can't make it to this
but
game.
If you can't,
and it's a little later
over on our sister station, Kern Radio 96.1 FM, the home of the Renegades. We'll take our final break, wrap up the hour right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m.
101.1 FM. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield, as well as streaming video online, at Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, all over the place. Just look for the Early Bird Special. Find our little logo there, the cartoon bird with the worm, Early Bird Special with ESPN writing. Just follow us, subscribe. You'll be able to see every single day when we go live 7 to 9 and join us. And if you miss any episodes, they're all there as well. You can go check them out every day that we've been on the air and then some, because we were a podcast before this. You can go back and see those episodes as well. If you enjoy listening to two dummies talk about sports all day.
If our listeners, you got any questions, comments, or you just want to win some Village Fest tickets,
Absolutely.
BrunchFest.
Yeah,
I
Village
did it
Fest.
this time now.
I was like, wait, we did this twice. Sorry.
Village Fest is this Saturday. A big shout out to Miranda. There is very limited tickets available.
Yep.
And you can go to BakersfieldVillageFest.com. But we have some BrunchFest tickets, and that's when the weather cools down. Saturday, October 11th at the fairgrounds.
You say that. I'm just hoping and praying that it cools down starting this weekend, because I will be out at Village Fest enjoying it with the rest of us, as well as our guy 24KG, who will be one of the DJs in the back. So go enjoy that as well. And if you see me out there, come say hi.
And one of our listeners said Dober had Penix Jr. at quarterback. He had at Indiana, and that Washington Huskies team was loaded his last year. 6 players in the NFL.
I agree.
They were a great team of the Alabama players that have went into the draft.
Look, man, I'm not going to sit here and say that Washington wasn't a talented team that year. They were a very talented team that year. But when you really boil it down to the talent that he has in the SEC with Alabama compared to that Washington team, it's night and day. Michael Penix is a fantastic quarterback. Do not get me wrong.
We'll see.
Well, in college.
Yeah.
Let's say that. In college, he was a fantastic quarterback. Groundbreaking, not so much, but he was at least good enough to get you the championship game. But I'm still not sold that he doesn't have the same talent, if not better talent, at Alabama. And let's be honest, his lackadaisical coaching, I would say, and that's a bad way to put it, I realize, but your inability to really discipline these players when they're doing a TikTok dance after getting blown out by Florida State. And you want to sit there and say, oh, just let my players do what they want. I'm a players coach. Stop it. Stop it. You ain't winning championships that way. I'm sorry. And at this point right now, Alabama, I'm just standing on this. They're used to winning championships. So if you're not there to do that, they ain't going to keep you. You can hear it from every other person that's played in the SEC. You don't even have to hear it from me. Go listen to Cam Newton say it. Go listen to anybody else that's played in the SEC or knows what they're talking about when it comes to the SEC. Every single one of them has said it as well. If you're not there to win championships, what are you doing? Shoot, go watch the NFL or the Netflix series. That'll tighten it up for you right then and there. We got to take a break, pay some bills. On the other side, more sports to talk about. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Early Bird Special right here on this Wednesday, 3rd day of September.
You got a little bit more time to text in at 842-2000 to get your BrunchFest tickets.
Trust me, you want to go to this event, especially if you have a significant other. Most of you guys out there listening to my voice right now, driving to work, or you're at work and you're wondering, how am I going to, spice it up this winter? How am I going to do something a little different? Maybe the pumpkin spice and the pumpkin patches and stuff like that ain't doing it for you.
No.
I'm telling you right now, BrunchFest will. BrunchFest will be one of the best times the two of you have had in quite some time. And you can get all the friends to go with you as well. And you can get your tickets for free right here at the Early Bird Special. Just text in. You might be a lucky winner today, tomorrow, or Friday. We got tickets for you all week long.
You'll see me pouring drinks for you. So come say hi. I'll be sporting my Early Bird shirt. And before we get into some other NFL news, we are the home of NFL starting tomorrow. Yes, you heard it right. Football season starts tomorrow.
Well,
with the Cowboys at the Eagles. Pregame will start at 3 p.m. right after the MoneyWise show, followed by Friday's game in Brazil. Chargers, Chiefs, 4:30 pregame. And then Saturday, we got a triple header of college football. Baylor at SMU, Oklahoma State at Oregon, Michigan at Oklahoma. And Sunday, triple header. We are the home of the Las Vegas Raiders. Kicking it off, Raiders at Patriots.
Great game.
Lions at Packers.
Also a great game.
Sunday night, Ravens at the Bills. And then Monday night, we'll have the Vikings at Bears game. And you can also catch us tomorrow before the show starts on our sister station. We'll be joining with the Scott Cox Show at 6:30 tomorrow morning.
Is he having us do picks again?
But before, and we got to figure that out too.
Yeah, we got to figure out how we're going to do ours.
On Friday, we got to do our picks. But in that, also Fantasy Friday, throw in your fantasy questions anytime. You can start today, but Fantasy Friday, we'll definitely jump into some lineup questions.
And starting a week from, I believe, today, we will be helping you with the waiver wire as well. Waiver wire Wednesdays will be starting up once again once the fantasy football season gets underway. We might wait a week as well. I know a lot of people aren't exactly sprinting to change up your teams right now.
I've got people already asking.
Really?
Yes.
Y'all are crazy. Did you not draft who you wanted?
Already touching your lineup. And there is people, Greg Kerr, there is people that are frenzy waiver wire.
That's fine. I'm all for it. That's
how
you do it
sometimes. Sometimes that's how you pick your team, but sometimes I'm the guy that will sit back and will let you drop a couple players and I'll jump on them.
Exactly. And honestly, that's what I kind of feel with the waiver wire. It is a gamble every single time you drop somebody, you pick somebody up, obviously, but it's one of those situations where I love seeing people dig through the waiver wire because you're just going to lose out on a whole bunch of these people. You don't realize you don't stay at number 4 at the waiver wire the entire time, big dog. You move right back down to the bottom as soon as you add somebody. So you got to take that into account as well if you're a fantasy football player.
And I got a question for you because I was listening to Kerr yesterday, and I know there's certain players that everybody that plays fantasy doesn't have maybe faith in, or they've drafted them in the past and they just won't touch them again.
Is this a Kyle Pitts question?
No.
Okay.
It could easily go into it though, because I've heard a lot of hate on the Greg Kerr show on Debo, and I understand some people don't like to touch the guy. He is in a new home.
A lot of people didn't draft him this year,
and
I'm surprised
he went very, very late. My one thing, Greg Kerr could be 100% right. Debo could just flail out in Washington. Personally, I think it's just another weapon for Jaden, and I think Jaden's building up. And I think with McLaurin holding out, I think it just built that relationship with him. Yeah. But I'm not saying start him, but I might be personally
he's
just
a flex guy, though.
Keeping an eye on a flex guy like that, because not only will he'll be running out of the backfield, but Washington's offense might be a little bit better for Debo with McLaurin on the other side.
I get it's easy to hate on players, especially since the season hasn't started yet. I've done it a million times. I'm not going to sit here and say I haven't. Debo is not one of those guys, though. To be honest with you, what I do when I look and try to analyze how a player is going to impact a team, I look at how he affects the game when he's on the field. Okay, your stats can be mixed. Stats, although, yeah, you can take them at face value a lot of the time, but sometimes they can be misleading. I mean, let's take Kirk Cousins, for example. I hate to keep using him as an example, but he's a great one to use. Regular season, he tears up. He's one of the top guys, but that doesn't always equate to success for Kirk. So his impact on the field, although, yes, statistically undeniable, but in terms of being a winning football team, they don't really add up to what you would want. Debo, in my opinion, when he played for the 49ers, when he's on the field, he makes a massive impact. He could either catch the ball for you, he could run it for you, he could do everything you ask him to do, including throw the ball. And to be honest with you, he is one of the most consistent wide receivers we've seen for a while. The fact that the 49ers moved on from him was shocking to me. I don't think he's going to be bad in Washington at all. I agree with you. I think that he's going to be pretty well leaned on in this offense, and it's just going to open up more for guys like Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels to do stuff with, because now you have to really focus on the fact that Washington has multiple weapons that they could go to. Even though they moved on from their running back, you still have Austin Eckler and the two young guys behind him as well, who are great pass catchers. So to believe that Debo is going to be coming into this year and stink it up, I mean, you're right. He could be absolutely correct. We could be way off base, and this could be a really bad situation for Debo. But from everything that I've seen him play with the 49ers, there's nothing that I've seen to kind of warrant that answer. I feel like you have to give him the benefit of the doubt until we figure out for sure what Debo we're getting on this team. And to be honest with you, I think you're going to get the best Debo you could possibly get, because he's leaving San Francisco angry.
Yes.
Like, he's not leaving very happy. He didn't want to leave San Fran, but he found a situation in Washington which might work out a little bit better for him.
Yeah, I think he's going to fit nicely in
I think so too.
But one thing I wanted to bring up before we got into any other news, I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, reading CBS and ESPN, and there's been a lot of pushing of this Sunday ticket discount by using DraftKings, and drop your first $25 and they'll match it and they'll give you a $250 discount. Well, I got to the bottom of it as yesterday I finally pulled the trigger. We're all set up for Sunday ticket. There is not a discount for us California residents.
Oh,
because it's not the regular DraftKings. It's the regular. It actually is the DraftKings bet, the Vegas DraftKings.
So this entire
it's not a fantasy app. So you can put $25 into a sporting bet, but in California we can only play fantasy with our waging.
Always something in the fine print.
So when it comes to when you try to get the discount, I followed all the rules. I went in and it made me, download the other DraftKings that is more of the lines like a Vegas bet. And when you get it, it'll say right there, oh, your state is one of the few states that cannot use it. So we're not official. We can't use the discount. So you're not going to get the discount. But I will tell you, if you are on the fence about getting Sunday ticket, I did find a different way to save you some money.
Oh,
but it's not $250. It's about $150. But if you are if you're like me, where you get Sunday ticket every year because your team is usually out of the market and you don't get a lot of TV games like my Dolphins, use a different email. Use a new email. If you have to set up a new email, whatever you have to do, do not use your email that you've used for several years, because at the end of September, this deal will end. So only new customers using Sunday ticket through YouTube TV get the $150 discount. If you just use the email you had from last year when you had YouTube TV or Sunday ticket, you get the full price, which is $400.
Can I just be the one to rattle the cage to say here that California, can we get on the gosh dang bandwagon already?
Right?
Can we stop with this? Like, oh, we're doing it to protect our kids. No, you're not. You're doing it to protect your own wallet because you're afraid that you're going to bet all your stuff away, aren't you?
You have no problem with the California lottery.
Exactly. You got no problem with the Powerball.
What's the difference?
Like, at this point, the fact that sports betting is still illegal in California bugs me.
It's just stupid. You can do fantasy. I'm happy that they didn't close that, because there was talk that they were going to close out fantasy in all
He's
in California.
I'm telling you right now, the district attorney for California was the one going after that, and you're never going to be good on that one.
And a new thing that you'll see starting tomorrow, the NFL has now adopted honors logos on certain players' jerseys. So when you see a gold patch on certain players' jerseys, this year is going to be the first. The AP Awards MVP, the Offense Defensive Players of the Year, which is Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Surtain. The Offense and Defensive Rookie of the Year with Jaden Daniels and Jared Verse. They will all wear a gold patch. So it's their AP gold patch for winning the award last year.
That's pretty cool. I mean,
and they'll wear it all year, even into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's interesting. Does this stack over, I wonder, though? Like, are we just going to get this, like, every year they switch the patch over or something like that?
That's what their plan is.
Is it?
They'll all 6 winners will get the golden patch.
And the other thing that I wonder right now, too, is that when you get a multiple-time winner, say Josh wins the MVP again this year, are we going to do kind of like what they do with the captain's patches? Do we get, like, little stars underneath where you can now say, I'm a 5-star general and I've won the MVP 5 times? Like, you know what I mean?
Dolphins.
5 time.
They made a big thing about Tyreek Hill not being a captain this year. Whip-de-doo.
You don't.
The way he went out last year, it's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Give him a little slap on the wrist and shake it off. Go out there and play and prove that you're worth the money we're paying you.
In my personal opinion, if you at all have threatened that you wanted to be traded from your team, you don't deserve to be a captain.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. Even if it was contract negotiations, you do not deserve to be a captain, because that shows me you're willing to burn the bridge with the whole team just to get what you want. That's not captain-like.
Yeah,
that's not somebody I want to get behind.
For stepping up, because he's the one that threw him out there and said, "Hey, you got to earn your respect back, 100%.
bro." 100%. And I think that's good showing from Tua. That is one of the things that I respect the most about Tua. Although he's got, again, glass skin and paper bones, that man knows when to step up and be a leader and tell you don't deserve it. You haven't done anything to deserve it. You need to step up yourself, and then we'll go from there. And to step in front of your number one receiver and tell him that, especially somebody who arguably is emotionally questionable, I guess. I won't say unstable, but questionable. That was a big gamble, because what if he looked at Tyreek and said, you need to earn your spot back, and Tyreek said, oh, really? Then I'm out. I'm gone.
Yeah, on the depth chart, they already got Waddle over him.
Good. They should, to be completely honest with you. That's what I think Miami needs to do. You need to stop catering to these players and what their demands, I guess the best way to put it, especially the ones that aren't producing for you like they should. I mean, we heard Coach McDaniels, what was it, last year, the year before, question Tyreek Hill saying, you're the highest paid guy here. Like, I need you to do more. And what was his answer to that? Doing less. So at this point, I'd put him at number 4.
He had his surgery. He can't blame the wrist. He can't blame the ankle anymore. And I'm hoping we'll talk to Andrew Boydston tomorrow, local comedian and Colts fan. So we'll see. My Dolphins and the Colts kick off this weekend. I'm going to see if he's is he still as full as he was a couple weeks ago when he was still saying Richardson should have been the starter.
As long as I see Jonathan Taylor with 30 touches in a game,
he's going to be in a game.
I'm happy.
It'll be a game.
That's it. I don't care what you guys do at quarterback. I really don't. As long as Jonathan Taylor and Tyler Warren get about 30 touches for Taylor, maybe about 5 to 10 for Warren a game.
For 28 yards, I'll be happy.
Oh, no. Hush you. Hush you.
I will say that Dolphins front 7 it's going to be tough to run on Miami.
Oh, 100%. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy task whatsoever, but I do kind of hope that the Colts can figure out at least something on this offensive side to make them a running force, because you have it set up that way, right? You have a great offensive line. You have a great running back, I should say. I was about to say running back, because I can't speak for the rest of the running backs or your quarterbacks, but lean on him. Lean on the workhorse. Jonathan has been there for you the last 2-3 years. I mean, I say keep going with it and just keep handing the boy the ball. That's how you're going to win football games.
Well, we'll take our break. We'll get into some miscellaneous stories. We've got to get into the hectic day of baseball yesterday. Some fights, some benches cleared, and a pitcher saying he didn't mean to hit the player in the chest with the 93 ball. But we'll talk about that and much more right here on the Early Bird Special.
Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield, as well as streaming video online all over the place at Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, all over the place. Go ahead, follow us, subscribe, share with your friends, share the reels, all that type of good stuff. We are trying to grow the show as much as humanly possible. We are a local show here in Bakersfield, but we do have listeners all around the country right now, which is great to see that we are growing ever so much every single day. And join us tomorrow, as Sparky said, we'll be joined by comedian Andrew Boydston, who's a massive Colts fan as well. Can't wait to talk to him, as well as our guy Bolt Brady makes his return, hopefully this time in video. I did send him the video link, so hopefully he will be with us tomorrow to give his week 1 picks of the NFL live, and you can finally see his beautiful face as well as ours right there on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live.
My damn Mariners. Every time we get a chance, man, and the Astros lose, they choke it out. But hopefully we'll get them in the first round. So we'll see.
The positive, though, that I'm going to point out here, because I'm glad you brought up the Astros. You guys may be matching them in terms of wins and losses right now and not exactly gaining, but the Astros are falling apart in different ways. And if you'd watched the game yesterday, you know exactly where I'm going with this. There was an altercation between the pitcher and the catcher yesterday early in the game in this Astros series. And to be honest with you, I kind of blame the pitcher for this. Now, they're playing the Yankees. And just to set the table for you, it's the 5th inning. And the pitcher being Valdez, one of the better pitchers, Framber Valdez, for the Houston Astros. 166 Ks. He's an absolute flamethrower on the mound. 12-7 coming into this game. 12-8 leaving. He lost 7-1. There was an altercation between him and his catcher, Cesar Salazar. During a pitch, Salazar was trying to get him to step off the mound instead of taking the pitch, and said, that they weren't ready. So Salazar's telling him, hey, back off the mound a little bit. We got to figure something out. And not listening to his catcher ends up being the worst possible thing for him, as he gives up a grand slam in the 5th to give the Yankees a 6-0 lead. And what did Framber do? Instead of just sucking it up, saying, oh, I messed that up, he took it out on his catcher. He threw the next pitch when the catcher was not ready. You can watch the video. That catcher didn't even give him a signal yet. He didn't have his glove up. He was not ready. And Valdez throws a fastball dead center in the middle of his chest and turns his back, as if to tell him, Salazar, I blame you. You're the reason we are down 6-0. First and foremost, I don't know about you, Spark, but
I played catcher.
And when your pitcher is about to pitch or is still on the mound, hasn't started his windup yet, and you tell him, hey, get off the mound. Back off. Hold on. Take a timeout. What do you expect your pitcher to do?
Back off.
Back off and take the timeout. I'm sorry. I played baseball for a little bit, and throughout my entire baseball career, I was told the catcher is the coach on the field.
Yeah, he's a quarterback.
When the catcher tells you to do something, you do it. If the catcher tells you at shortstop, move over, move over. If the catcher tells you as a pitcher, don't throw that pitch, hold on, wait, we're going to take a timeout. Take a timeout. Don't get mad at your catcher because you weren't paying attention and you threw the ball dead center, regardless if you got distracted, because I'm sure that's exactly what he's expecting. He threw a curve or a mover, I should say. I don't even know if it was a slider or a curveball. I really don't. But it was a hanger. It got crushed by Grisham. And that's nobody's fault but the pitchers. In my opinion.
Announcers were like, oh, that was a 93 miles per hour right down the middle,
right down the pipe,
the chest.
And that's what makes me feel, because a lot of people were sitting there saying, oh, he didn't mean to. Like even ESPN on the video says unintentionally threw. Shenanigans.
Yeah, he came out after the game, said it was totally unintentional.
Lies. He's going to say that to keep the peace, but everybody that watched that game.
I'll take full responsibility. We're all good.
As far as you know, I'll take responsibility for it. I messed up. Yeah, no, you messed up, all right. Because if I'm the manager, I'm looking at my pitcher and saying, I'm pulling you. That was ridiculous. You gave up a grand slam and you're going to blame the catcher for it? Come on, dude. But that is why I think as Seattle Mariner fans, you guys should be happy, because clearly Astros still ain't on the same page either.
hopefully we'll get him in the first round, and we'll.
I think
knock
every
him out.
baseball fan right now is hoping and praying you get him in the first round, and we see very short work of the cheaters, to be completely honest with you.
Me too. Ohtani, the positive.
Yes, the Ohtani home run, 100th home run as a Dodger, hardest hit that he's ever hit. I think as a Dodger, I'm not going to speak saying for the Angels, 120 miles an hour though. Wow. And again, we talked about him. He's the golden boy of the NFL or the MLB, obvious reasons. I mean,
and he's the fastest in Dodger history to reach that milestone. He only took 294 games to hit 100.
And unfortunately, I'm going to die on this hill as well, but he's going to beat out Kyle Schwarber for the MVP, which is ridiculous. But I mean, hey, he's Shohei Ohtani, and he exists. So people like Kyle Schwarber are just screwed.
I was with my buddy's diehard Dodger fan, and
dumbest thing in the world.
He was saying, "Yep, sorry, Phillies.
It's fine. That's fine.
They'll probably get us in the playoffs."
Yes, we will.
He says, "I don't want to talk too much crap." And a big shout out to my boy Justin Leland. He went out to Chicago. His son is out to the Navy. He had a family graduation out there, and was able to catch a White Sox game. And it was the White Sox and Yankees. That's when I'd mentioned. He said Aaron Judge is a monster in person, but he snagged me a Ice Cube bobblehead.
Nice.
I was like, that's right in my cave.
Dude, that's so cool. I love that when they do those different ones. Like, don't get me wrong, bobbleheads of players are always cool, but when you get those like celebrity ones, the special edition ones, like there's something about those that's just a little bit different. Like my Ralph Bailey, right over at our sister station, has a Magic Johnson one right behind him with a little Dodger beanie and everything like that. And it's like, see, that's different.
Those are cool.
Those are cool. I like that because it's not traditional baseball. Everybody's seen a bobblehead of Shohei Ohtani. I mean, we've all seen the Jedi one that they come out with almost every year, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. I like it too. But when you really think about it, what's a cooler bobblehead? Well, a guy that didn't play in the league, but still like it's a special edition one, or one that you could really go to any store and buy?
So I always remember the White Sox hat with Ice Cube. So I was like,
oh, yeah,
of course.
And real quick, before we get out of the world of baseball and get into our Wild Thing Wednesday segment, the week, we got to talk about the other baseball story that happened, which I'm going to get your thoughts on this as well. And baseball fans listening, please feel free to chime in because I love to hear everybody's take on this. So during the Colorado Rockies and Giants game in the first inning, Rafael Devers hits a home run that was barely a squeaker. Now, don't get me wrong. It was one of those that you sat there and you wondered, ooh, that might not be out, but okay, cool. It went out. And he did something that baseball players see as incredibly disrespectful, and I understand why, but at the same time, I'm also going to harp on the fact that it's really not that big of a deal, but I'll get to that in a second. But Rafael decided to watch the home run instead of just trotting around the bases like pitchers would like for you to do. I think, and to set this plate properly, I apologize, led to a massive brawl between the two teams in which benches cleared. Devers didn't even get to swing on the pitcher, but everybody else on the team did. And at this point, between the Giants and the Rockies, it just showed a little bit of animosity between the two teams for something like this. But what do you feel, Spark? I mean, you're a baseball fan, as well as a lot of these people that are listening. Do you think it's okay for a batter to kind of like not boast, obviously, but kind of just admire his work for a second?
I mean, I grew up watching players do that all the time.
Same.
And when I watch the replay, I watched it a few different times with different camera views, and you can see it if you haven't on our Instagram, the Early Bird Special Official. But I didn't see the disrespect in it.
I don't either. I've never understood why pitchers feel disrespected by this.
I think if anyone was disrespectful, it was Chapman coming up in the push behind.
Absolutely.
Like, what the hell is he doing?
Look, man, and not just that, but you as a pitcher can get mad about giving up a home run. Don't get me wrong. But you jawing at the batter who just hit it off you as if you have anything to say. Like, I've played sports for a long time. And when you're losing a game or you just gave up something major, I can speak for everybody on the field. You're the last person that gets to talk. The last one. If you're a pitcher that just gave up the game-winning home run, you're the last one that gets to talk about the other team. And in this case, I feel like it's the same thing. It's the first inning. The ball was one of those really weird ones that is like, oh, that could not go out. That is really close. Like, so he was just waiting till it actually went out. And then he started trotting. And then all you hear is him and the pitcher throwing F-bombs at each other, saying, F you, go around the bases, stop looking at the pitch. I'm sorry. it is one of those situations that I just don't understand why pitchers get angry about this. You gave up a home run. It's part of baseball. Now, granted, you don't want the batter like sitting there for 20 minutes ogling the pitch and, dancing around.
Of
That's
course.
dumb. That's
Bonds
not what
used to do
Devers
that
was
all the
doing.
time. But yeah, it was stupid and it was a dumb way to start out the game. But yeah, the announcers immediately were saying it was that he was looking for the foul ball. I was like, no, it didn't look anywhere near the foul, but it looked like it wasn't going to make it.
No, and that's my thing. It's like it was headed towards the foul pole line, but it was well in. So that's more what I was thinking is like he's thinking that's not going to fall out, that it's going to be right there on the warning track. And why sprint to first base or second base when you know it's going to get caught? You know what I mean? The baseball players do that all the time.
Yeah.
And trust me, there's not a single baseball player that actually hustles to first base anymore. No. That's not a thing. So, I mean, that's why I'm like, I don't really understand why pitchers can sit there and harp and say that it's disrespectful when it's part of the game. One, it's literally the best thing a batter could do is hit a home run. And he's not sitting there dancing, throwing anything at you, trying to like say, oh, see, haha, like stare you down as he's going around the bases. That's disrespectful to me. When you stare someone down or you try to like throw it back at the pitcher, that's disrespectful. That doesn't belong in baseball. But somebody watching a ball leave and not immediately going around the bases, that's a little bit ridiculous for you to sit there and claim that it's disrespectful.
He seemed a little more butthurt that he.
I think so too. Now, was it enough for the benches to clear? That's what was wild to me, is that this is the first inning, which means there was animosity before this game even started. And it was all based around that pitcher.
Yep.
Because that pitcher, you notice, they didn't go for Devers. The Colorado Rockies weren't sprinting at Devers. Everybody was sprinting at the pitcher. So that means to me, that pitcher might have said something a little off before the game.
Previous.
And as a Colorado Rocky, again, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier in this conversation. You're the last one that should be talking.
Yeah.
Worst team in baseball.
By far.
How many home runs have you seen go over your head this year?
A lot.
So let's stop with this. Oh, it's disrespectful. No, you guys just suck. Sorry. Hate to be the one to have to tell you that, but you guys maybe just suck. Maybe don't throw balls like that. Maybe, stop giving up home runs. I know it's hard in Colorado because your altitude, but let's not sit there and say Devers was disrespecting you by trying to make sure his ball went over the fence.
Well, we'll take our break. We'll get into a Wild Thing Wednesday, and we've got a couple texts, one is a fantasy one I want to bounce off you guys right here on the Early Bird Special.
That's right. It is a Wild Thing Wednesday right here on the Early Bird Special, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM ESPN Bakersfield, as we also stream live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. And we got a handful of wild stories for you this week. As we always do, if you guys know of any wilder stories in the world of sports, please feel free, text them in 661-842-2000, or you could share the link right there on the comment section down below in the YouTube chat. We would love to read these, and potentially, if your story is better than ours and more wild, we can hook you up some tickets. We got some tickets to BrunchFest if you're local.
Tickets.
And if you're not local, don't worry about it. We got something for you too. So feel free, reach out 661-842-2000 or chime in down below in the comments section.
I'll cover the postage. We'll get you a shirt or something.
Exactly. We'll get you something. Just feel free to just reach out, do whatever you guys want to do. If you have any story that you've heard of that's better, and it has to be something that we can vet. You can't just tell us that the kid at your local college blew up his house over the weekend trying to fill up a gas tank. That don't help us.
It is wild, but
that is wild, but that don't help us.
It does not help us.
We need something that we can vet. If it comes from ESPN or The Athletic or something of that nature, it has to be credible, and we could help you out. We could potentially hook you up. So where do you want to start, Spark?
Well, I'm gonna get the ugly one out the way.
Sounds good.
So, a University of Kentucky senior, Lakin Ashley Snelling, a 21-year-old member of the college cheerleading team, has been arrested after a deceased newborn was discovered wrapped in a towel inside a trash bag in her closet. Like, what in the hell?
Prom night dumpster baby.
I mean, it does sound like a horror movie, a horrible, sad, horrible movie,
Dude,
but it's just wild.
Let's set the table on this one as well. I fret to wonder what's going on in her head, because she's clearly going through something. Clearly. I mean, this is something that you can't exactly just walk away from, but at the same time, like, she's clearly dealing with a lot. So my condolences go out to you, and hopefully you figure out whatever it is that you need to figure out to get past this.
She came out and said that she admitted to having birth of the child, and
how do you hide that as a cheerleader?
And didn't, yeah, right.
How do you hide that?
But she said she admitted that she had the baby and didn't know what to do with it. It came out deceased, and she wanted to hide it, and she didn't want anyone to know about it.
Naturally.
So originally she didn't have a plan, obviously, but to put it in a towel and wrap it up like it wasn't going to just disappear.
Does it say how long it was there?
No.
Oh, God. Again, horrible story. And again, my heart goes out to the woman involved as well. Like, this is something that nobody should have to go through, but still stand on this. How the heck did you hide that? Like, this had to be a preemie.
I hope
not. But I mean, at this point,
well, I hope it was something that she is just dealing with, and she can get the help.
Yeah, that's my thing. It's just, I hope you can get the help you need, sweetheart, because clearly that's a lot you're going through right now.
But I'm gonna get away with that.
Yeah,
get away from that story. Get into some positive stuff.
Let's shift over to John Jones, shall we? Because that's a little bit of positivity.
Is a boy,
my favorite UFC fighter of all time, and I will stand on this: the baddest man on the planet that nobody on the planet could beat in an octagon. And I will stand by that statement. And in positive news, John Jones, he is no longer facing charges stemming from an incident in February where he was accused of fleeing the scene of an accident and threatening police. Apparently, all of this is being let go by, and I'm going to butcher this because it's in New Mexico, and I know I'm not going to say this correctly, Bernalillo County? I think Bernalillo or something of that nature county. Regardless, the district attorney has offered to drop the charges against John Jones, stating that there was reason to believe that the defendant's alibi was pretty steady and credible. Ergo, they had nothing on him. They had nothing on him to really tie this to John or say John fled the scene or really threatened cops to begin with. Usually that's pretty easy to prove if it was actually true, because if a cop was involved, clearly body cam footage would be involved. So at the end of the day, it's a good thing for the John Jones camp, who is now retired from fighting. He's not coming back to the UFC from what Dana has said, even though Dana White announced this past week that we're getting the pay-per-view live from the White House lawn, and I swear I would die if Donald Trump, and this is the only thing that I'm going to ask Donald Trump to ever do for me, I swear to God, don't get me started on the orange man. But if John Jones can convince, or I'm sorry, if Donald Trump can convince John Jones to come back and be the main line of that fight, maybe we get Jones and Espinal finally on the White House lawn. Wow, that would be incredible. However, Daniel Cormier and a lot of other people have already stated they have thrown a lot of money at John Jones the last couple of years to get him to fight again, and he has said no. He's done. He's most likely thinking, I'm over this. I don't want to fight people I don't want to fight. And let's be honest, this is probably the first man I've ever seen John Jones potentially scared to fight. Tom Espinal. Wow.
It ended with the positive story.
It ended with a positive story. John Jones no longer affected by this February car crash that took place in Albuquerque.
And a friend sent me this story. Rapper Little John has made a splash over the weekend.
What?
He he took part in a Muscle Beach Championship in Venice.
Okay.
Making his first ever fitness competition. The king of
I'm sorry. Go for it.
The king of crunk is he also earned third place in the men's physique category, becoming the first music artist ever to compete in the iconic event, and give him props to his trainer Jay Galvin for the achievement. And there's some pictures on TMZ, and I mean the guy looks ripped.
Yo, Little John got absolutely ripped for this. Well done, sir. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure he's got plenty of time to actually go to the gym all the time and get ready for this. But you know, and I'm going to say something millennials may not like me for, but is Little John just the greatest hype man of all time?
He's definitely up there with the hype gun.
But see, that's my thing. Does anybody know Little John for anything else?
No.
Besides being the best hype man of all time?
No.
Like, has Little John ever actually dropped a track of his own? Do we know of Little John has ever dropped a track of his own?
I don't think solo.
I don't think he has. I don't
You
think
can
he's
help
always been a
auto-tune
feature
with that too, but we'll take our final break of the day. I'll bounce this fantasy question off you, and we'll get ready for tomorrow. We'll give away our Bakersfield Brunch Fest tickets. But as we've said earlier, tomorrow, comedian Andrew Boydston, Colts fan, will join us at 7:30 live from school, right before he has to teach
he's going to be live from his office.
And then tomorrow we'll also have Bolt Brady, hopefully on video, and get some odds on week 1 of the NFL with the man, the myth, the legend, Bolt Brady, right after this on the Early Bird Special.
look at that. Lincoln Park is back. Yay. Not gonna lie, I was kind of expecting a Little John song.
I had one.
Did you really?
But
no,
I'm not ready for it. No.
Well, not ready for it in the sense of it's not clean, or okay, that makes sense. Again, I just. Do we have any text messages calling me a hooligan? Because I've yet to think of a single Little John song that's actually Little John's.
No, I just remember all the hype songs.
Exactly.
But it wasn't his.
No, they were all features. He was just the guy in the back hyping you up for the actual talent. Or I shouldn't say the actual talent. He's also a talent, but he's the greatest hype man of all time. There's nothing wrong with that. But
immediately think of Dave Chappelle.
Yep, exactly. That's all I think of, man, because it's true. There's 3 words that man knows. Yeah, what, and okay.
Okay.
That's it. That's all you need. That's all he needs in a song. So if anybody could chime in and call me a dummy, say you forgot about this song, you big dummy, and you're a millennial, feel free to, because I have yet to think of one.
Well,
not a single one.
Our listener Javier won our BrunchFest tickets for
Congratulations,
today.
Javier.
Tune in the rest of the week from 7 to 9 as we have more tickets to give away. The first text says, I have Debo in both of my leagues. I hope you guys are right.
Honestly, I think I picked him up in one of mine. I think that I was, if I'm not mistaken, it was the work league. And I was very surprised how low he was ranked and dropped in a lot of people's, but fantasy football marks. I thought for sure he would still at least be in the top 15 of wide receivers. But I mean, from your lips to God's ears, I still believe in the guy. I don't think there's going to be any reason to believe he's going to take a step backwards, especially with a great quarterback like Jaden Daniels. Like if he went to a team like the Colts, I would agree with you. Say that, there's not a lot of potential there because of who's throwing him the football. But we're talking about a kid that's probably going to come in and be one of the top 5 quarterbacks here in the next 5 years. So I think with Jaden Daniels at the helm, and with the help of guys like Scary Terry on the opposite side of him, Debo's going to flourish in Washington. Just watch.
I think so.
I think there's a lot of 49er fans that hope it's the other way around just because of how the relationship ended between the two.
But there's definitely an upside.
I think so too. I genuinely do.
Our next one is going to get a little deeper. It says, hey guys, I had my draft of the weekend.
Nice.
And I wanted to share my draft. Wanted your thoughts or grade. And this is the first question.
Okay.
So his quarterback is Drake May.
Okay.
His backs, Chase Brown, Jonathan Taylor.
Not crazy about that, but okay.
Receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Drake London, and Jerry Jeudy.
Solid.
Went with Kelsey at tight end.
Okay.
His flex is James Conner, so he does have a third back.
Cool.
Kicker, Harris Butker.
Butker. Everyone's favorite kicker right now.
Went with the Bills Mafia as our defense.
Solid defensive choices. Well, your weak point, in my opinion, is the running backs, but that's because I'm not a huge fan of Chase Brown. Never, I don't know. I'm not a guy that usually jumps on the bandwagon of some of these running backs that randomly pop up out of nowhere. And Chase Brown was one of those guys that was just, he popped up out of nowhere last year in Cincinnati. I don't know if if he really does that again this season. So hopefully I'm wrong and your team does better than I think.
I'm wondering what's available at defense. Because I personally don't think the Bills defense is going to be as tough as everyone thinks.
I would assume if you got the Bills early, that most likely the rest of the defenses are gone as well.
I think if Seattle or somebody like New England is still out there, which I've seen.
Packers, I see everybody sleep on the Packers right now. I think week 1, you're not going to see a whole ton, but week 2, once Parsons actually gets going, that defense is going to turn around. So if the Packers are still available for you, I think Spark is right. Maybe to get somebody just in case. But if I had to grade your team, B minus. I mean, there are a lot of players on there that obviously you hope have big games. I think CeeDee Lamb and Drake London are going to be your big ones, to be honest with you, as well as James Conner. He gets a lot of touches and a lot of touchdowns. Drake May, jury's still out. I know
Chase Brown could be an upside with all the receiving.
Could be, but that's what
I'm nervous on that one. And I'm not sure about Drake May. We'll see. With this new
jury's just
scheme.
Out on this end so far, but I do agree with you and what we said a couple weeks ago. You can go back and watch it on our YouTube channel, but I do think the New England Patriots are one of those teams that might shock a couple people this year.
I think so too. I'm just not sure if that's going to be the quarterback that does it. But the second question says, this is my bench and who should I drop from my bench as I'm looking at another player?
Gotcha.
His bench is Swift, Debo, Najee Harris, Tank Bigsby, and Jawan Jennings.
Okay, so wait a minute. You have Najee, Tank, and who on the bench at running back? Swift. And you started you picked way too many running backs, my friend.
I don't know. I've got just as many.
That's fair. And I mean, again,
but it looks like they only have 5 bench players. So the bench,
that's the rough part.
Swift, Najee, and Bigsby on the bench. And then the other 2 is Debo and Jawan Jennings, which I believe Jennings is going to be 50-50 to play this week.
I don't even know if he's playing this week.
But he's got an upside later in the season.
Best bet, in my opinion, would to be drop one of those running backs for either a defense or an extra receiver. I would say if you have to get rid of any
or a quarterback.
Or a quarterback. It's a good point as well. I mean, my piece has already been said on Chase Brown, so maybe wait a week until you find out if he's going to be a real factor or not. But if you had to drop one this week, probably Najee Harris. I think Najee Harris is getting overlooked a lot because everybody's jumping on this Omari and Hampton train really early, although he most likely will be splitting carries with Omarion. But I think that Swift has a massive upside this year with the new offense that's coming in.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, the third one was
Bigsby,
who potentially could be taking that spot away from Travis Etienne as well. Bigsby would be the other one that I'm kind of considering maybe you should drop him as well, just because he's not the starter right away.
And the amount of running backs you have, I think he's probably the bottom one.
Yeah, and honestly, Tank is just it's still a question mark if he's even going to be the starter, although I mean, if they move on from Travis, the next logical answer would be Tank Bigsby.
My other question is, who are you getting?
Yeah. That's the other thing that I really can't justify you dropping any of them until I know what really is available for you in the free agency market.
I do like Swift. I might be putting Swift in that starting roster.
I think the same thing. I say switch out Swift for Brown, to be honest with you. But again, I've said my piece on Chase Brown. It is what it is. I think Swift coming in with Johnson coming on, obviously his former coach as well, like gonna help him out. The only thing that I kind of hope they could figure out is you got to get Swift into the end zone. And Johnson wasn't very good at that when he played with him in Detroit. So maybe that'll be a little bit of a stall out in fantasy football as well. But
I probably would agree. I'm probably looking at Bigsby if I had to cut anyone. But personally, after that draft, I usually don't try to touch anybody. I mean, I even screwed up. My computer froze and I ended up having 2 quarterbacks in 3 rounds. But I'm not touching them because it was Mahomes and Burrow. I'm like, I'm not going to trade any of these guys.
Well, I mean, and if you absolutely needed
as soon as
to,
I
you could always do it. But
as soon as I do, one of them get hurt, and I'm like, I'm glad I have him.
I usually don't move on from any of the players I draft for like 2 to 3 weeks at least,
unless somebody is just a surprise and it's still off the waivers. But usually, I'll use that for like backup quarterback or something.
A couple weeks down the line when you absolutely need it. And honestly, that's what scares me trying to help you out with yours, because dropping guys like Tank Bigsby and Najee Harris right now don't seem like that big of a deal. But if you ever needed to try to pick them back up, that's where you're going to run into a problem, because there's going to be a lot of people looking down on it. That's why I'm just like, God, dropping one of those guys does suck, but you can't play with 6 running backs. I know I stress that running backs are very important in fantasy football, and I still stand by that statement. But you can only play
6.
3.
I think I have all 6 in all leagues.
That's fine, but that's what I'm saying. It's like you can only play 3 of them at a time at the most.
I've just had issues with running backs over the years, but I will want to throw out Rich Eisen, who is, you guys have been spoiled. We've had Rich Eisen, but he is now officially an ESPN host as of yesterday. He's going into his 2nd official show.
You could even watch it on Disney Plus.
And he had a busy show yesterday. I saw Montana. I saw Aikman.
Which, hold on to those too, because I'd love to talk about those bites tomorrow. Those were great, great topics for both Montana and Moreno. Just to tee it up for you guys, Moreno's top 3 quarterbacks to start a franchise with. That was a pretty interesting answer. Just saying. And of course, you got Aikman talking about Dallas without Micah Parsons. Anytime you get Troy Aikman talking about Jerry Jones in Dallas, it's always good. Although you know he's going to be sucking up to his old boss. Just kind of how it works. But until tomorrow, as we said, 7 to 9, you'll have Andrew Boydston, local comedian. We'll have national handicapper Bolt Brady join us once again, give you his picks for week 1 of the NFL.
and much, much more as we bid you adieu for the day. We got to get out of the way for the great Rich Eisen. Sparky, let's get out of here.